Made-for-TV sequel, huh? This never goes wrong. So Omen IV: The Awakening tells the story of a political figure who adopts a child that might be the Antichrist. But it's a girl this time, so it's different. Welcome back, everybody, to the Omen franchise review series. If you're just now joining me, I have reviewed the previous 3 films in this franchise already on this channel. I'm about to be reviewing the Omen remake tomorrow. And then finally, on the 31st, this Halloween, we're going to be doing the 31 on 31 ranking, which this year's theme is Unholy Terrors. So the Omen's going to be there, The Exorcist is going to be there, Poltergeist, few other franchises. So if you like ranking videos, if you like those franchises, if you like supernatural demon possession type films, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss any of the madness. Now, as far as Omen IV: The Awakening, honestly, when I was preparing for 31 on 31, I actually didn't even know that this movie existed to a certain extent. I was sending out my my draft ideas to Brian and CP, and Brian chimes in with, your count's off, that's 32. What are you talking about? And he goes, there's a 4th Omen, and it's shit. So that's all I knew. So needless to say, the fact that I knew nothing about this movie and that the one review that I have for it, which is a pretty reliable source, says that it's garbage, didn't have a whole lot of expectations walking into this thing. It's a made-for-TV sequel, it's a forgotten sequel, the fans of the franchise seem to despise it, so yay! Strap in for this excitement, right? Well, starting off with the positives for Omen IV: The Awakening, the one element of this movie, which is really just one scene, that I actually kind of liked and wish they would have gone a little bit further with, was that there's a scene where the young girl Delia is running into an oncoming traffic where the pet cemetery truck is coming, and the little hellhound is hauling ass and actually jumps and knocks her out of the way. And so I liked seeing that the dog, which has been a common recurring theme throughout this entire franchise, kind of took more of an active role in her protection, aside from just sitting and growling or just staring at people, which is what it did through the rest of the franchise. Actually knocking her out of the way. I thought maybe at some point it was going to be attacking people. That never came, so small positive, but you know, the dog being a more active role, I kind of like that. Now, as far as the negatives, and yes, Brian was correct. This movie is dog shit. This is horrendous. Overall, this movie is a really low budget retread of the first film. You get a couple that's in politics that can't have a baby or seem to not be able to have a baby. They adopt this child, and eventually the kid turns into a little fucker, and one of the parents finds out that there might be some demonic, satanic shit going on with it, and now she's got to try to convince other people what's going on. I mean, it's exactly wash, rinse, repeat, the same exact storyline that we got in the first movie, which to a certain extent was the same storyline that we got in the second movie. So nothing new here at all. Just a much lower quality version of what you've already seen. And when I say lower quality, I mean lower quality. The acting, especially in this entire movie, by every single person involved, is rough. It's a made-for-TV movie, so it's got a made-for-TV budget. I mean, just the camera work involved is very basic. The production value of everything that you see on screen is low quality and basic. Even the music in this movie, when they're not copying the Jerry Goldsmith score in certain segments, the score is absolutely terrible. There are scenes where there's literally a knife fight going on between 2 characters. Somebody is about to die, and it's like doo, 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 doo. I mean, it sounds like they let a 5-year-old. They probably got the kid that played the fucking Omen character in this movie to go off into a room. They set up a microphone and just handed her a xylophone and said, "Go nuts. We don't have budget for anything else." That's how the score is. It doesn't match the scene. It doesn't evoke any of the tension or the dread or the emotions you're supposed to be having in the scenes. It's distracting to the point where you're like, what the fuck? It's like your TV's on mute and your kid's in the background on their tablet listening to fucking Sesame Street. Like, what is going on here? The one thing we did get back that they completely abandoned in Omen 3 is that you do get those accidental death kills again. You do get those omens once again, but they are laughable. Like, it's almost better that they weren't there in Omen 3 than to do something like this. The first kill in this movie is the father of a kid who's being bullied by Delia. And so he's always getting in their face like, that kid's fucked up. You need to do something about her. All right, see you later. And he gets into a car and he's driving like 2 miles per hour out of this driveway and just looking at Delia the whole time. Like, that crazy bitch. And then runs into like the platform on the back of a moving truck and hits it, and he's like, ah! And it just crushes through the top of the car and then takes his head off. I'm like, dude, a fucking bush would have stopped that car. He was going so slow, but he decapitates himself. Okay. And then the only other kill you get in the movie is the dude from Blank Check, who's sitting there trying to help and find the information on Delia and what her origins are, and he starts to have visions of what the Earth's going to be like if the Antichrist wins. And then he gets to a construction site and it just shows a wrecking ball go through this sign, and then it just cuts to his face like 4 different times where he's just staring at it going as this thing is swinging towards him, and then you get a split-second shot of him getting taken out by it. That's the kills that you get in this movie. Fucking hilarious. And to wrap this whole thing up with a shit-stained bow, they try to do this plot twist in the final 5 minutes or so in the movie where the mom finally figures out the truth and finally isn't taking no shit anymore and gets down to the bottom of the answers and finds out that this girl Delia is the descendant of Damien Thorn, and then quickly finds out that not only is that the case, but she also was somehow carrying an embryo of her unborn twin inside of her. And so when she starts to have menstruation at 8 years old, they were able to take that embryo, know that it's there first of all, and then take the embryo out of her, implant it into the mom, carry it for 9 months, and then she gives birth to the other psycho Damien Thorn child. And now that baby is actually the Antichrist, and Delia is just the protector. There's a version of that twist of Delia being made out to be the Antichrist the whole movie, and that turns out she's actually the protector for something even worse. That could have been cool. But that psycho, convoluted, stupid-ass plot that they just vomit out at you in the last 5 minutes, no, that does not work. And then the mom just shoots herself. And you have no idea if that's the kids, like, willing her with their power, where she's like, no, fuck, no. Or she just can't take it anymore. The fact that she has to shoot her child, the child that she carried, that loved so much, and she just did it to herself. It's totally unclear. So the last 5 minutes of this movie, you're just kind of sitting there like, what the fuck? Like if it was a cartoon, I'd have like the little steam and shit coming off my head because it's just working way too hard to figure out what the hell they're trying to tell me. At the end of the day, this movie had no reason to exist. There was no reason story-wise whatsoever to make another Omen film. I mean, it ended on a bad note already, but it closed out the storyline. There's nothing left. To have the balls to take the name The Omen, which still had a little bit of clout still left in it because of how iconic that original movie is and how many fans the second film has, and to make this garbage, low-budget retread of the same exact plot and then so lazily try to do something different with it in the last 3 minutes of the film, you should be smacked in the fucking mouth for even having that idea, let alone writing it down and actually putting it into production. This is a travesty. So all in all, guys, this is just a really, really low budget, bad Omen film, but it really aggravates the fuck out of me that they just, again, didn't do anything different with it. I mean, you could do something different with this franchise, and time after time, they just don't. They retread it in the second one, try a little more slasher element, which kind of works. They don't do anything new with it in the third one to the point that it's a bore. They do the same exact thing here with no quality and no creativity, and then you get the remake that I haven't even talked about yet, but I've seen, and it's just a carbon copy of the original film. So it's just, The Omen is starting to really aggravate me with the lack of creativity involved with the production of these movies, and Omen IV is possibly the worst example of that. So if you're a fan of the original film, just stick with the original film. Maybe watch the second one and then stop there, pretend these other ones don't exist, because Omen IV is an absolute garbage movie that has nothing new to say and just retreads everything the original did in the most shitty manner possible. So unfortunately, once again, gonna have to say, fuck this movie. So what do you guys think of the Omen IV, The Awakening? Are you a fan of this movie? Did you see it when it came out? Do you think this is actually a worthy successor to the Omen franchise and you wanted to see more out of Delia and her psycho little brother? Or do you watch this and just go, wow, this is an abomination? Let me know down below what your thoughts are, guys, and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video to help get some new eyes on it, get some new subscribers, and if you are finding me for the first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of that content coming up that I told you about. The Omen ranking, the Omen remake review, as well as 31 on 31. We have a blast with that. Please join us for that here this October. And we also got Halloween Kills and Chucky coming up. Can't forget to talk about those guys. Gonna be doing a lot of content with Chucky and Michael over the next couple of weeks. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.